Working the night shift has a silence that's unlike anything else in the world. It's not peaceful, it's hollow. Kind of silence that makes every sound echo louder than it should, where every small noise feels like it's whispering right in your ear. For Alex, a security guard at a medium-sized hospital in Illinois, nights had always been calm until one winter evening when calmness turned to horror. He started his shift at 11 p.m., as always doing his rounds across the long, sterile hallways. The hospital's west wing had been closed for renovations for nearly 6 months, so he never had to go in there. But that night, something felt different. The security cameras kept glitching, specifically the feed from the west wing. Static would appear for a few seconds, then clear up again, showing what looked like flickering lights deep in the corridor. At first, he thought it was an electrical issue, but around 2 a.m., while sipping coffee at his desk, a dark figure, faint and slow, walked past the empty hallway. He leaned closer to the screen, heart pounding. The lights flickered again, and when they came back, the figure was standing at the end of the hall, facing the camera, motionless. Alex froze. No one was supposed to be there. The line crackled, no response. He replayed the footage, but the figure wasn't there in the recording. It was as if it had never appeared. Trying to calm his nerves, Alex decided to check it out in person. He grabbed his flashlight, clipped his keys to his belt, and made his way toward the west wing. The air grew colder as he approached, the lights dimmer. He unlocked the heavy door, its creak echoing down the empty hall. Halfway down, he noticed footprints on the dusty floor, bare footprints. They led toward a room at the far end. The door was slightly open, and the faint hum of a machine came from inside. Alex pushed it open. Inside was an old hospital bed, rusted and covered with a white sheet. A single, flickering fluorescent light illuminated the room. On the bed lay a patient chart. The name on it made his stomach twist. Eleanor Price. That name was familiar. Alex remembered hearing it when he first joined. Eleanor Price had died 10 years ago during a power outage in the same wing. She was a patient no one ever talked about again. Suddenly, the door slammed behind him. The lights went out. His flashlight flickered, catching glimpses of something pale moving in the corner. The beam steadied for a moment, and there she was. Her head tilted slowly, impossibly far to one side. Alex stumbled back, fumbling for the door, heart hammering. But when he looked again, she was gone. The flashlight dimmed to nothing. He bolted out, slamming the door shut behind him, gasping. Where, when he returned to his desk, the cameras showed everything back to normal. The west wing lights were steady. The hallway was empty, but on the monitor, right outside the security office, there was a reflection of something standing behind him. When he turned around, no one was there. From that night onward, Alex never took another shift alone. Samantha worked as a night receptionist at a small-town motel off Route 9. It was the kind of place travelers stopped at for a single night, and most mornings the guests were gone before sunrise. Her shifts were quiet, maybe too quiet. But on one stormy night in 2018, she experienced something that would scar her for life. Around 1:30 a.m., the phone rang. She picked it up and said cheerfully, "Front desk, how may I help you?" Static crackled through the line. Then a voice, soft, trembling, and almost childlike, whispered, "Please, can you send someone to room 303? Samantha frowned. Room 303 had been locked for years. There a gruesome suicide that happened in that very room. Management sealed it off completely. No one stayed there anymore." She nervously replied, "Ma'am, that room isn't in service." "Are you sure about the number?" The voice came again, weaker this time. "He's in here. Please hurry." The line went dead. Her heart pounded as she checked the register. One was listed in 303. Curiosity, or maybe concern, pushed her to grab the spare master key and make her way upstairs. The hallway was dim, the storm outside hammering against the windows. As she reached the 3rd floor, she noticed something strange. Water dripping from under the door of room 303. She hesitated, her fingers trembling as she inserted the key. The door unlocked with a click. Inside, the room smelled of rot and mold. The air was heavy and cold, unnaturally so. The bathroom light was flickering, and the dripping sound was louder now. She took a step forward and froze. The bathtub was half full of dark, murky water. A woman's pale arm hung over the edge, limp and still. Samantha gasped and stumbled back, reaching for her phone. But the power suddenly cut out. The entire motel went dark. She stood there, heart racing, as the sound of water splashing echoed from the tub. Then came the unmistakable sound of footsteps, wet, slow footsteps moving toward her. The outline of the woman emerged from the darkness, drenched hair clinging to her face, eyes black and hollow. Her lips parted, and in that same whisper Samantha heard over the phone. She said, "You took too long." Samantha screamed and ran, bolting down the hall, nearly tripping over herself as thunder cracked overhead. When she reached the front desk, the lights flickered back on and the phone was ringing again. She didn't want to answer it, but she couldn't stop herself. She lifted the receiver, hands shaking. "Front desk," she whispered. The same voice answered, calm. "This time, room 303, check out. Complete." Then silence. The next morning, the motel manager found her still at the desk, pale and shaking. On the floor beside her was a soaked key tag that read 303. There's something deeply unsettling about night shifts, the stillness, the silence, the way the world feels asleep while you're wide awake, waiting for something to happen. Every night worker has a story, but some stories, they don't end when the sun rises.